I'm Adam Rutherford.
My name's Lucie Green.
I'm Andrew Steele.
I'm Frith.
Hey, I'm Greg Foote.
So I'm Simon Singh.
My name is Jennifer Rohn. I'm a scientist at University College London, and I'm the founder and chair of Science is Vital. Science is Vital is a grassroots group of scientists and their supporters who came together in 2010 to protest cuts that were threatened to science at that time. We had a big rally in the street, 2,000 scientists, white coats, placards, the works, and after the campaign, which was synergized with a lot of other efforts, the government agreed to ring-fence the science budget, not invest in it, but just to protect it. So for the last 5 years, we've been under this ring fence.
And where are we today? What's happened now?
Well, because of inflation, it was a real terms cut in the end, because if you have flat cash, prices go up, but the investment stays the same. So the UK has been suffering a bit because we haven't had any investment in 5 years, and indeed we've had a bit of a decline.
During the Blitz, there were bombs dropping all around us. There were 9 bombs dropping on Red Lion Street behind us, 4 bombs dropped on Theobald Street to that side. When you see maps of London with the bombing that came during those 9-10 months of the Blitz, it's shocking. And of course, science was vital to winning the Battle of Britain and bringing the Blitz to an end. Science was vital in winning the Battle of the Atlantic. Science was vital in winning the Second World War due to things like breaking the Enigma code and Alan Turing, or Benedict Cumberbatch, as he's sometimes known. Those people, those mathematicians and scientists showed that science is really vital. Now, back then, the general public probably didn't realise how vital science was, but the politicians really did. And in fact, the role of science was kept largely secret, so only the politicians, the most senior politicians, appreciated how vital science is. Now the situation's kind of been reversed, because I think the public do appreciate that science is vital, whether it's genetically modified foods or energy policy or climate change or pioneering new technologies for the information age. The public kind of get it. They understand that science is vital. But sadly, the politicians don't.
If we had a loss of funding for the space science projects we work on, the impact would be severe. So I think that we are very good at what we do, and we work on a shoestring already, but there's only so much that you can cut the funding before you start to have catastrophic effects. And at the moment, we're very successful in working with the European Space Agency. And in fact, we have in the recent years had really good support for the European Space Agency, and we had the establishment of the UK Space Agency as well. So there was a real push for growth in space science in the UK. Now, that's not only related to the science that happens, but also the economic benefit of space science in this country, so the space sector as a whole. And MPs have an agenda for growing the UK space sector turnover from around 10 billion a year to 40 billion a year. But to have that happen, we need investment in basic research and development. It won't happen otherwise. Private companies won't put in the research and development. That needs to be government funded.
I think we all need to be involved. There is just no exception. We are all consumers and producers of science. It is just the most culturally important thing to be involved in it, as well as, of course, practically. So I just can't see anybody nowadays not being really interested in science and really finding it highly rewarding to be so.
For me, Science is Vital is Science is Vital is really important, because if the government decide to cut the science budget, then that's going to cut essentially what I go and talk to people about. And I found that science is a fantastic way to engage the public, to spark their curiosity, to invoke a sense of wonder. And I think if we cut that, then we're cutting our sense of curiosity.
So the Scienceogram, as I said, tries to make sense of science spending. And one way that we do that is to look at the amounts that we spend and compare them to certain items of everyday expenditure. So, for example, it might shock you to know that cancer kills about 1/3 of us, and yet we spend just £2.80 per person per year on public funded cancer research. Now that just astounds me, because if there's a disease with a 30% chance of killing me, I want to spend more than £3 a year trying to work out why, and maybe how to stop it. But then when you try and compare that to items of personal spending, so we look at the average spending in the UK on various different items, this number becomes even more astounding, because something that just doesn't make sense to me. We spend £160 per person per year in the UK on weddings. In fact, if you get the cost of the average wedding and divide it by the length of the average marriage, you get about £700 a year. Now compare that to the £2.80 per year that we spend researching cancer. I just can't get my head around that.
The most important thing that the general public can do is get involved. I spoke to a backbencher Tory MP 5 years ago, and I mentioned the campaign to him, and he said that in the last year he'd received 80 letters from the Women's Institute about a proposed bus route in his constituency. And they said, how many letters have you got on a scientific subject in your decades in Parliament? And his answer was 0. It is now easier than ever to write to your MP. Theyworkforyou.com is the website to do it, or you can go via the Science is Vital campaign webpage. But if you write, if they get 10 letters on one subject, then they will consider it seriously. It's so easy to do.